Hi everyone. Welcome to my weekly or bi-weekly, is it bi-weekly? Live stream photo edits. This week I have it's a little bit different. I'll be doing your photos that you've submitted for me to try and edit and, give you some different ideas on, what my perspective on the image is. Again, it's nothing to do with critiquing photos, but just about, editing and looking at different ways to do composition or color and lighting, etc. Basically photo editing. But what's new today is I put a picture out that a picture that I took that wasn't very good. And I said, let's put it out there and see what people can do with just an okay picture, right? Because you know most of my photo walks, this was from a photo walk that I did, that I just take average pictures, right? Just snapshots. And, sometimes you can take one and really make something epic out of it. And other times, there's there's nothing you can do, right? It's just no hope. And this is one of those pictures. I thought there was really not going to be any hope, but I think you guys submitted some interesting, edits on it. So I'll go ahead and share those. And let me know if everybody can hear me and see me okay. Hopefully it's okay. I mean, I've been having some technical difficulties today in the previous stream, but anyhow, so I think what I'll do is, oh, thank you, Just Love This Game. I appreciate that. Hi, John. Hey, Larry. Good to see you. Hopefully you got the the gift card I sent out to you. So thanks again. That was an excellent deal on that camera. Larry sent me a wonderful Fujifilm 6x9. It's a 690 Model 3 or something camera. But it's an old 120 film camera, but it's got a 16:9 or 6:9 format, like 35 millimeter, but it's in 120 film. So as soon as the camera shop's open that I can go get them developed, I can't wait to see some pictures from it finally. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into it. Let's just start with, I guess, the image that I put out there for everyone to edit. And see if I can switch over there. Which button is it? This one? Yeah. All right. Very good. And I think let me just zoom this in a little bit more. There. That way you guys can read the chat section as well. Oh, I did a horse photo edit Thursday. Oh, okay, yeah. That was a beautiful picture. Really nice. Thanks, Plato. Good to see you. All right, so this is the original image here that I excuse me, that I put a link out to for you guys to download and try and edit. And I provided both the raw and the JPEG image, so because you never know what kind of editor you're gonna have. But this is it, and I took a picture of this vehicle because I thought it was so interesting. I never seen such a thing. I've never seen anybody with this, and I'm wondering. There's a little, it got cut off here, but there's a website down here, on.com, but it's probably ion.com or something. But maybe you can buy one of these as a consumer, right? It doesn't have to be for official use at all. So, but yeah, this thing looks like it can move. I wonder if down here it looks like there might be a license plate or something. But it's interesting. It's kind of like those Segways, but with a front wheel. So you're not like worried about crashing. I don't know. I'm surprised the Segways never really took off, right? But these things are kind of cool. But I didn't get a good shot of it. It just looks like, I don't know, it's just a snapshot. Hey, look at this machine, right? But I said it's an interesting subject. Somebody's got to be able to do something with it, right? So let's take a look at the first one here. And this was sent in by Darren. Okay. It's been it's a little bit low res, it looks like. So ignore the softness that might be there, because he downsized it to like a 1 megapixel image. But in any case, I like the color that you did with this there, and the reds are really popping there, and the brick really separates this vehicle from the rest of the scene, I think, very nicely. Oh, this is an SE3 Patroller. Oh, so you know what these things are, huh? Softy Buffon says it's an SE3 Patroller by Segway. So it's made by Segway. That's why I got that Segway vibe. But yeah, I like how you separated the vehicle from the brick. It does stand out, because if you look at the original one, all the colors are very muted. I use a muted profile, color profile, so it didn't separate the subject too well. And then you cropped out all the unnecessary things, right? But unfortunately, from this angle, right, we still have the background here of the CVS store. This is a CVS in the background. And that, I think that's what's really destroyed this picture. I didn't put any thought into the composition. I was just looking at the vehicle. So that's why it's so bad. But this is a good separation of color. Let's take a look at the next one here. This is from Bob Tishmarsh. And this one, it looks like it looks a little bit softer, but then you increase the saturation a bit. Okay, so yeah, you had the same idea where you just wanted to just only get the machine in the frame. But I don't think that's enough here. But I see where you were going. You cut out all of that bright red awning in the background, which helps to isolate the subject even better. Because red really stands out in an image, right? Red is like, I've read that is the most sensitive part of the eye cone. Like you see red first, right? So I think that's a good idea, to get rid of the red awning. But then we're still kind of left with just the bike. And it looks like you did some color toning a little bit too. You brought up the shadows so that we can see sort of the background here. You can actually see through the wheels back into the sidewalk. So there's a lot of elements here that you took control of, but I don't think the image works still, right? And it's not your fault, it's my picture. Serge, I tried cyberpunk style. It didn't work, but rotated, vivid, shadows lifted, and highlights lowered. Okay, yeah, so it did soften the image up, the contrast, quite a bit. But okay, good effort there. This one here, yeah, the background was too much to overcome, right? All of this, like I said, I did a terrible job composing this image. All right, here Chan did a just converted to black and white and pumped the contrast up quite a bit, because you can see, like down in here, you can just barely see through the spokes into the brick. It's a little bit here when you really zoom in, but for the most part, we went with the punchy contrast. And going black and white definitely got rid of this red. But compositionally, it still has the same challenge, right? There's no way around a bad composition sometimes. And this picture is just awful. The edit is good though. I like the contrast, because it's just the way I like to edit. I like very punchy contrast the images myself. So good job. Let me see. And when you bring up the contrast, you can see all the little imperfections. Well, not imperfections, but like you can see like these lines here, which is probably just water running down off of the top. So this thing's been out in the rain. So you can see different elements a little better, right? Subtle elements like that. Like seeing that these streaks are probably from just dirty rain washing off the top. Okay, let's look at the next one here. This one here is from Ian. Okay. Ian went totally, he's kind of done two things, right? He went totally high contrast and compressed the dynamic range of the scene so it's basically black and white. There's very, very little tones anymore. But I feel like I wish there was a way to make these lights here work with the brick. Like I said, if this is a shot I'll never get again, because what are the odds of that being parked in the same place next time? Or even seeing this vehicle again, because I go to Alexandria all the time and I've never seen this thing before. But yeah, I think it's a little bit too dark. At least on my computer screen, right? And my computer screen is calibrated for printing, so it is a little bit dark to begin with. But yeah, that's a totally different take. You cropped out all of the unnecessary elements and then you pumped up the contrast, but I feel like we went a little bit too far for my taste. Hey Roman, how are you? Let's see what else we got here. This one is from Ken Powell. And he's doing a little bit like what Bob did, but he's doing black and white instead of color, meaning you've reduced the contrast quite a bit. But you did keep some of the blacks in there. Like your black point is still pretty low. But then the rest of the image is fairly low contrast. So that's kind of I'm not buying an ISO monitor, Roman. Roman's saying an ISO monitor wouldn't be dark. For $1,000, man, I'm gonna put that towards a new laptop. Anyway, but then you didn't do anything with the rest of the frame in terms of composition. It looks like you just wanted to bring the highlights in so that we can see a lot of the detail, like on this wheel. But okay. Basic black and white conversion with a little bit of the black points moved in a little bit, it looks like. No, the ISO 3 for $320, those are going to be no better than the the Lenovo's or Dell's that I can buy. Like I said, I may not go monitor. I may just, because the monitor I have is anyway. I have a monitor that is calibrated and it's 100% RGB. I can brighten it, but like I said, I like to have it at the brightness of a print. Okay, let's move on. But okay, thanks Ken. I think it's okay. Just basically a black and white conversion. Doesn't look like much else was done here. And like I said, it's a terrible picture, so I don't expect much what can be done, but let's see. We have one here by Peter Heckert. All right, Peter did a lot here. He did some perspective correction or distortion correction. Because I can tell, because the wheel looks like it's perfectly vertical now instead of kind of at an angle that I took it at. And of course, all of the lines here and here, so a lot of the perspective distortion correction here. And then the colors look pretty much the same as the original. Let me look. Yeah, so I think all the work here was done Where are we here? And then, you know, a square 1x1 crop, but all the work was done in the perspective distortion and not much else that I can tell. And that's an awesome job on the perspective correction, Peter. That's better than I could do because I tried with Workspace. I mean, in Lightroom it was easy to do, but in Workspace I was really struggling to get the perspective right. You know, yeah, Dave. The images I'll make that more clear. But when I put the image out there, I should have said no restrictions. Do whatever you want with it. You know. You know, use whatever software you have and whatever else you want to do with it. I mean, the only thing I would say is don't make a composite, right? Like, you know, put the image of a mountain range behind it. Like, try to use just that image, but then do whatever you want with it. Adding things in, I guess that's kind of, you know, do whatever you want. Composites, doesn't matter. I don't know why I would put any limitation on someone else's creativity, because if you can make this a cool picture, why not? And I'll put another one out there. I usually post in my forum on the community tab in YouTube, and then when I post the video up for the photo editing, there'll be a link to it there. Unfortunately, the link I put out didn't work yesterday. I fixed it this morning, but then it's too late, right? So I didn't get too many edits. But curves, perspective, and saturation. Okay, I don't see much on the saturation side. Must have been very, very subtle, Peter. But I think really awesome job on the perspective. That definitely helps. This is more like a product shot now, though, right? Like being in the field. Okay, let's move on to the next one. This one is from Arthur McPhee. Wow, he's a long-time viewer of mine. And he has a terrific Instagram account. You should definitely follow his Instagram. But a lot of you have great Instagrams. I was looking at some this morning that were amazing. But yeah, this is definitely his style. He likes to really crush the blacks and then gradually bring the tones back in, but a very contrasty tone. So it's interesting. He brings all of the tones into the image and without, and makes it very contrasty. What I should say is he makes it very contrasty, but without losing the tones, the finer tones in the image. So if you look at this, it's very high contrast, but you can still see the front tire. It hasn't been blacked out. It's still there, right? And all of the tones in the bike are still in there. So that's very signature of his images. And then he went with a vertical, like a portrait crop of it, but he did crop out, you know, he didn't have to crop out the awnings here to sort of get them out of your view. They're just blacked out completely, so that's not bad. But like I said, the original image kind of sucked to begin with. It's kind of hard. Like this image would not win any contest, I should say. Yeah, Dave's saying black and white seems to be the favorite healing tool. I know, right? Like if we look at this color, like these two are a good contrast, right? This one, and this one. They're kind of the same thing, but one is color, one's black and white. And man, Peter did such a good job with the distortion correction here. I'm really impressed. You know, because I'm an architectural photographer by trade, right? So, good job on that. All right, let's look at this one. This one's here by Robert Poulton. See, this is a little bit more cyberpunkish because we got lots of purples here. And then he went with a Dutch angle to get rid of all of the unnecessary things. Yeah, David really sucked, right? But he eliminated. Now, what I like here is that he kept a lot of the same elements, because I'm going to show you guys my edit here soon. He kept a lot of the same elements that I did in a lot of my iterations of this image. Like I like the handlebars here, and I like the LED lighting, and I like this wheel. And then you cut out everything else that doesn't matter, except you cut out the front wheel. And I understand you had to cut out the front wheel because of you would have had to bring in more elements that mess the image up, right? All of the background that just is terrible. Oh, is this your? Oh, you think I did it I did intentionally put out a bad picture, but it wasn't bad. It was just I thought the subject was interesting. It's just the picture itself was bad, right? It's like, I don't know, you take a bad portrait of a beautiful person, handsome or beautiful, right? But then it's just a terrible picture. That's kind of like this machine. I thought this machine was so interesting, but then it was just awful. um, oh, nature? Okay. Yeah, you might have to reboot. All right. Oh, Robert, you're here. So yeah, you couldn't get the front wheel. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, right? Because I worked on this too. But I like what you did with the color. I like this purplish. So let me do one more thing. I think it was Roman or someone asked, what if we do a cyberpunk style, right? So we can put in, where is it? And it's not an actual art filter, but it's a combination of art filters, which is a cross process 2. And then I kill the white balance this way, I think. So that it didn't really work. There might be some other edits that I do in Cyberpunk. I'll have to look back, but that's the gist of it. So yeah, Dave, I think of all the ones I've seen. So we'll go back to of all the ones that I've seen. I like this one. This one is okay. It's okay. I like the tones in this one. This is a good crop, but too dark, I think. This one's okay. It's basically a black and white conversion. This one, I really like the perspective correction. Just to sum it up, right? This one is interesting. It's just a normal composition, but like I said, like Arthur's McPhee's style is he brings in a lot of contrast without losing tones, which I've always really liked about his images. But this one, I agree with Dave. I think this is my favorite edit so far. Robert says, I wanted the chrome to shine and have it more metallic than the original. Yeah, me too. You and I are like on the same page, right? We're seeing a lot of the same things. Okay, let's get to my edit. Let's see, I think it's the very next one here. This is my edit here. Just kind of give you a full screen, but very similar to what Robert Polton did. I cropped out everything that wasn't necessary. I did some minor perspective correction because I wanted the bricks to be at least straight somewhere in the image, but they're diagonal here. So I had to kind of choose, I want this diagonal or this diagonal. And in an effort to make the wheels shinier, I didn't do a good job. I had to clip a little bit in the highlights here. But I was able to save this reflection in the panel here of the brick. And of course, I ended up cropping everything out. and focused on what was just the most interesting thing in this image, which is the wheels of the bike or Segway, whatever this is. So let me do just a quick comparison between these two. But when you look at these side by side, I almost kept the handlebars in, kind of like Robert did. But then I didn't like all of the distraction here. And of course, everything back here is just the distraction. I'm a wreck. So I decided to just crop very tight, and I re-angled it. And I just focused on this wheel and this wheel. And then I kept just enough brick in so that it added some texture or background to the image. And then I did a split tone. So this is a monochrome image actually. And then I split tone it so it's a little blue here and then more red in the brick. So monotone with some split toning, and I did it all in Workspace. I didn't use any special editors, just the one that comes with Workspace. But all right, thanks everyone for submitting that, your images. You all did really good job, and I really like seeing how other people look at the same scene. I think it's really interesting. Yeah, Dave, I thought it was very interesting what I see, but maybe you guys saw something different in other people's edits than I did. Because like I said, when we were in my last stream with Rick, there was a lot of things in that image I would just go over my head, right? I would have never seen, and that's possible. There's a lot of things in the images that you guys submitted, the edits, that I didn't notice, but really would make the image more powerful than the one I did, right? Than the original. So that being said, let's go back to everyone else's edits here. What's been submitted today? And okay, we have a cardinal. It needed some flames. That's funny. Not the cardinal, the bicycle, right? Or the Segway thing. Or somebody called it the right thing. It's a SE3 Patroller made by Segway is the proper name, but okay. Let's see. This is from P. Palumbo. And let me just give you the quick EXIF data. Looks like it's a EM1 Mark II with a 40 to 150 Pro lens and a teleconverter. Zoomed all the way out to an equivalent 420 millimeters, 1/320th of a second at ISO 1600. And he used an anti-shock shutter single frame. Okay. So there's the technicals, because, you know, when you're doing bird photography, the technical things are even more important. But let me punch in and see what kind of detail we got. I feel like we missed focus slightly because it's just a little bit sharper here. But maybe not, because the bird's so far away. The bird is taking up roughly 5% of the frame, right? So we're down to about probably less than 1 megapixel image on the bird. And these are tough because it's through the leaves. But I think, you know, to bring out some of the detail in the bird, let me get rid of this. Let me work with the contrast a little bit, like so, just a touch there. I'm just going to add this. Now, what I like about the sharpening in Workspace is you can crank it all the way up and it doesn't over sharpen. It does a pretty good job. But I think, and then let me turn off the noise filter, because we are because you'll notice that I had to turn it off because he apparently had it turned on in the camera to standard. But I find turning it off, even at ISO 1600, you're still good. But now I think we got better detail in the bird. See the difference in the wing here versus what's here? Yeah, there's a little bit more noise. But I think for bird shots, the detail's a little bit more important. And this is something where a lot of people like to use that topaz denoise, where it intelligently selects the subject, sharpens it, then kills the noise in the background. But with Olympus Workspace, we can still do a good job. And then I'm going to crop this in quite a bit. I think a square crop's going to work because the bird's a little bit off center. And I'm debating how to frame this, but I think something like this, where I have the branch leading up to the bird, and the bird being in the top left corner. So I think that works, and then I'm going to increase the contrast, and then I might put the noise filter back on, but it's not standard. I'll just might use low. But let me increase the contrast a tiny bit. And this is probably a natural. I'm going to warm it up a little bit. I think we need to be at closer to 7000K, and that'll bring some of the color back in the bird as well. Okay, good. Let me see the details here. So I'm going to turn the noise filter. I'm going to try just low. And let me try the unsharp mask. See if I can soften this background up just a bit, but bring out more detail in the bird. So I'm going to crank this up about here. Well, maybe about, let's start there. And we'll do a radius of, let me try 1. Okay. And then I'm going to adjust the threshold so that hopefully I get rid of some of this. Yes. Oh, I killed the bird a little bit. Let me back off. Back off a little more. Right about there. Increase the strength now. Let me try a little bit more on the pixels. All right, that's good. And I'm going to punch up the color a little bit. Let me just try a quick pop art and see what happens. Nah, that's too much. I'll just use the saturation. Just keep things simple. +1. There we go. Perfect. Now let's do a before and after here. Give that a second to draw in. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. So basically warmed it up, added a tiny bit of saturation, then adjusted the sharpness without increasing or exaggerating the noise that was already there, which there wasn't much. Certainly no color noise. But I like that. I think that works. That's a nice picture. I might crop in a little more because this part over here and this down here is a little bit distracting. Let me just do a quick crop. I think this is a better crop here. Yeah, that's a little better crop. But nice shot, nice shot. It's just the focus is off. It seems like the focus is here and not on the bird. It looks like you just misfocused a tiny bit. So if you'd nailed the focus, we would have gotten certainly more detail on the bird, but still pretty good. All right, let's go to the next one. And then, I'm sorry, Dave had a question, give you a good lead time, but I think, have I used Topaz, and if so, how do you like it? I had the demo for 30 days, and I tried it the very first day. I only worked with it one time, and then after that I was like, I don't know, it just didn't interest me anymore. Because the results were okay, but it did make some errors in what it decided to sharpen and what it did not decide to sharpen, because it's using artificial intelligence where it's trying to determine what the subject is and sharpen that, and then, you know, soften everything else up. And I think on, you know, probably on a bunch of, if I tried it on a bunch of different images, I would have gotten probably an 80% hit rate, meaning it accurately identified the subject and sharpened it properly and reduced noise in other areas. That said, the one image I did, and it was a bird picture actually, right? Because of the, you know, birds have those fine feathers. It made a few mistakes. It sharpened some areas that shouldn't have been sharpened because the bird was on a bird feeder. And then even on the bird itself, it sharpened parts of the bird, but not other parts. So it looked kind of weird. And it's very subtle. And so I tried tweaking things because there's sliders in there that you can tweak to make adjustments with the artificial intelligence. And after a few tries, you know, I still didn't get the result that I wanted when the software tried to figure it all out. So I lost interest very quickly after that and didn't try any more images. And I think they're asking like $80 now. I think Rob Shoots Photos, one of the viewers here, uses it and loves it. And I'm sure you'll find plenty of people that love that thing. I think Peter's done a couple of videos on it. But for me, it was just my first impression was not great. So that's all I can say about that. I was just seeing if there's any comments here. Okay, so good edit. All right, let's look at this. Looks like I knew this was a lane. I just looked at it, I knew it because it's been edited already. It's like got a film sort of thing, but it's all blurry. Yeah, I do need to straighten it, definitely. So we'll do that right about there. Not a tad too much. This has got like a Super 8 or film kind of look to it with the scratches. And compositionally, I'm a little bit, I like the fence. And this bird. And you have this line coming up. What is this? This is just some imperfections. I gotta crop this a little bit. I hate to crop out the fence. But I'm thinking I'm thinking more like this, a 3x2. Something in this range, 3x4. And the reason I'm doing that is just too much empty space, and this bird's kind of getting lost in the image. So I think at least on the right, God, it's weird that this fence is straight and this pole is crooked. So, but then this building is crooked. So I think the fence is crooked and not the building. So that's that. I might have to get rid of the fence. Let me see how this looks with a crooked fence. Yeah, that's... The fence has to go, which I kind of like the fence though, but... I think this is where I would go with this image. So that this bird here is more prominent part. In fact, I'd probably crop it even more. Maybe like, what if I center it? All right, yeah, I think this works better versus the original. At least that's how I would crop it if this were my image. I mean, I like the original, the way this is all working here. But ultimately, I feel like the picture is about this bird and it's just getting lost with everything else. Okay, let's move on. Nice image though, Elaine. All right. Wow, look at this water tower. Really sharp. I love the tones in this. Let me see what this is. This is, oh, no data. This is from Larry. I feel like I've seen this before, though. I don't know why. I like how it's cropped already, but something is... I think I'm going to get rid of this bottom part and just get this angle this way. I like this one triangle here, though. Let me just see what this looks like if I crop it right at this cross. Yeah, it's slightly skew too. Yeah, just slightly. But yeah, I think this is let me add a line in here. I don't know if it's worth it to try to do any kind of distortion here. Nah, I'm gonna leave it. I'm not gonna do any distortion, correction, or skewing. I cropped it just a little bit off. So let's see, that's roughly a square crop. And think that's all I would do. Mainly because I clipped this. I'm going to cut that corner out too, but I don't feel like this adds much to the image. So I just want to focus on just what this is. So I didn't crop this well at all. Because I need about equal spacing between the left and right. There. All right, that's what I would do. Well, at this part I'm a little bit off, but that looks good. Because now we can see all of the brick, but I love how this brick's shiny. That's interesting. Why is this shiny? Is this not even real brick? Maybe it's some kind of aluminum metal. Yeah. This is some kind of metal. It's not even brick. Very interesting. If that is brick, I'd be surprised. And this looks like a scan of a film. Really nice. I love it. I would just do a square crop, basically. All right, let's move on. Nice shot, Larry. Yeah, bottom part is one angle too many, right? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's what it felt like to me. All right. Oh, beautiful sunset here, and this is what a pier. I thought maybe it was a bridge, but it's a pier. Man, that's a big pier. Seriously, why did it make it so huge? You know, most of the piers that I go to are just, you know, maybe 10 feet off the water. This one is a good, man, this is like 20, 30 feet off the water. Maybe at high tide the water comes way up, but I can't tell. A little bit of lens flare here. And this, oh, this is a reflection of the bridge. So, I'm leaning towards more of a silhouette of the bridge and increasing the contrast so there's more, these highlights stand out a little better, and hopefully get rid of some of the flare right there. So I think that's where I'm going to go. This would look good in black and white too. So I think let me crush the blacks a little bit more. Let's do it this way. I like to go more silhouette-ish, but then I want the highlights to really, just on the bridge here. Let me see, this is we'll punch in, this is at about, wow, these are dark. All right, so it's right about here. So let me lock here, and then push this up. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of posterization, but I think I got one too many points in here. Let me get rid of one. All right. I can't do it. So we'll leave it right there. All right, let me see if I can fix the blues a little bit. Something like that. And I want to get this a little bit magenta, so I'm going to pull this down. Maybe not that much. Wait, wrong way. Come on. Oh, I lost it. It's freezing up on me. Come on. That's not what I... There we go. Maybe closer to here. All right, good. And I'm going to take a lick off the saturation. Just a tiny bit. I'm going to get rid of this one reflection here, so just a tiny bit of crop. Maybe go wider. Let's try 16 by 9. Yeah, right there. No, I haven't done dehaze yet. Maybe a little dehaze. This one really doesn't need much. Because there's not much haze in it. I mean, if I go all the way, that brings out the clouds a little bit. Let me see what I can do with the brightness. I think I went just now, right about there. All right, good. I think I'm done. Maybe get a tiny bit of the magenta out. Tiny bit warmer. All right, let's do a before and after. There. I'm a little bit too magenta-ish, but I think that's the image I would go for. It really, man, it's a little bit too purple. Dang it. Let me go back to my green curve. Let me take some of this out. There. There, that's better. All right, there's the before and after. So I think that works. It needs to be tilted just a tiny bit, but I think this is the edit I would go for. More of a silhouette and just a little bit of warming of the image with some magenta. I wish I could bring out this part a little bit more too. This would look really good if this was lit up better. I don't think I can do it though. Let me see. Because if I try and raise the highlights or shadows a little bit, it's going to kill the other side. Because those are really in the midtones. All right, that's helping. Hold on. Yeah, that helped. So I brought out the ocean a little bit more without killing this. But yeah, beautiful shot. I like it. Look at these birds flying over here. This is another one of those images that need to be print really large. And I think would be amazing. All right, let's see what else we got here. Nice shot, old player. Thanks for sending that in. Ooh, wow, look at this. Where is this? This from Ian. Let me look at this full screen real quick and see. I think we're trying to frame the image with all of this around it, but it's not working. But look at this scene, man. I'd love to be here. So we need to crop at least, at the very least, this part out. And then just focus in just on these clouds. Man, I wonder, I'm not sure how I'm going to frame this. And there's a little bit of perspective error too, but that won't show as much in the crop. I know people go places, right? Unlike me, I go in my backyard. That's about it. Let me just keep the original crop. Because I think the intent was to try to frame the scene with the stuff right in front of you. But I feel like a scene like this needs to be open, not cropped in. Because when you do a frame within a frame kind of thing, usually it's on something a little bit more precise or more of a defined subject. Whereas these landscape shots, one like this, I think needs to feel more open and wide, not cropped in. What's down here? It's a pier. Okay. There's enough detail. I can crop the heck out of this because I just don't like this framing. This frame within a frame idea. Let me see. What if I do that? Okay. That works a little better for me. Dave's asked me if I go anywhere in the world, where would I want to go to for a photo shoot? New Zealand. Definitely. For landscapes, it's beautiful over there. At least from the pictures I've seen. I don't like to travel. But if I did like to travel, I'd go to New Zealand and then probably like in the UK because there's a lot of old buildings there. I love architectural photography. It's a tough crop though, right, Dave? It's tight, but I don't think the I don't think the original idea here of framing it within a frame worked. But I don't want to go, maybe, let me see. Maybe something a little bit more square, but not quite. Oh, Switzerland? Yeah, Switzerland, but it feels cold there. All right, I think this kind of works because let me look at it again. I'm sorry, I'm spending so much time on just the crop, but it's there we go. All right, let's edit the image itself now. It needs some dehaze, definitely. And give that a, this must be a raw image because it's, yeah, it's a raw because it's taken forever to. Well, let me not do it that way. Let me just put in an S curve. Yeah, that's looking better. Where's the water at? Yeah, this water needs to be darker. And go to the blue channel and let me give the blue a little bit more. Oh, that's not working. So I'm gonna have to see if I can do it this way. I can't do it this way. I was trying to see if I could saturate just the blues a little bit more, because it's really hard to do with a tone curve sometimes. That's kind of working. Okay. And I'm going to bring up the shadows. That's too much. Maybe right about there. And I think I'll just warm it up. Do a I need to do a slight tilt on the crop. It's just feeling a little bit off. Because I want this line and this line to be kind of straight. There, that feels a little better. Let me go back to the 4x3 crop. That was a little bit too square. Okay. All right, I think we're almost there. We need some contrast and sharpness now. Where's my dehaze button? Let me just go all the way on the dehaze. Tiny bit more saturation. And warm it up just a bit. This is at 6K. We probably need to be closer to 7. There we go. All right, I think I'm done. Maybe not quite done. Let me add about half on the clarity. So I want to try to bring out the trees here and the little white waves in the ocean. So clarity usually does a good job with that. Give that a second. So if I come to the UK, you'd be welcome to stay. Oh, thanks, Bob. Yorkshire is a photographer's paradise. Wow. I don't know where Moulton is located. Is that in the USA? Larry, Moulton? All right. This is my edit here. Let's do a quick comparison. How come it's not showing? I hate it when let me come out and come back in. Give it a second to render. Come on. See, this is why I'm looking at a new laptop. I really don't need to, but now let's see the before and after. Anyway, that's the before and after. So very subtle. I mean, normally this should be showing the crop, but just a little bit warmer, a little bit more contrast. And I tried to bring the blues up in the water. I didn't really succeed there. Let me go back to my curve. accidentally. There, that's a little better. So yeah, very subtle. Mostly the action was in the crop, right? Getting rid of all of that extra trees, but I think this still works. It shows that you're standing there taking a picture, and that's the best we can do. If you could have, I would have moved up so that you have a more open view of the field or the frame. Because even after I cropped it like this, I feel like this is better, but it still feels like you were standing there taking a picture. Like this is like a snapshot kind of memory of this beautiful scene versus making something. I think this could have been really epic if you were closer in and not had all this stuff here. Okay, I mean, beautiful scene though. Some people, you guys go some nice places. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, plane. I love this. Who's this? Frank Close sent this in. I'm leaning just a dramatic tone filter. I think that's all this needs, really. Let me see what that looks like. We might be done. Yeah, I think that's it. In my opinion, you know, because dramatic tone can mess up colors easily. But this image didn't have a lot of colors. It just has that red splash on the tail. So it brought that out. And this doesn't need any cropping, amazingly. But dramatic tone's really good with clouds and bringing the clouds, making them look more powerful or more ominous, right? And I think that works well with a plane kind of pointing into the clouds. The only thing I might do is just add a little more red. So maybe a simple warming filter. Let me see. Since I'm in this panel. Yeah, something like that. The warming filter may have overdone it a bit, but that's the direction I would go. Let me just turn that down. Right about there. Yeah, I think that's all I would do. That was an easy edit for me. If I were working on it manually rather than just applying an art filter, I would still be going for this kind of effect of trying to make the metal really shiny and bring out the clouds and make them more powerful. But fortunately, we have that dramatic tone filter that works really well on images like this. It just makes it pop very quickly. But that's it. I love it though. Good composition. I like the guy standing there. The pilot, I assume. No, it's just some dude looking. Oh, he's not even facing the camera. Hold on. Let's do a full screen. He's looking at the other planes. I'm just trying to think if there's anywhere else he could be standing that would make this interesting, like in a different way, right? Maybe if he was standing over here, but then it would kind of split this tail and the body a little bit, and that would look kind of weird. I think if I were to do this again, I would go up just a tiny bit higher, just a couple inches higher, and have the guy turn a little bit so you could see that he's really looking out this way at the other plane. So you would capture all the other planes and that he's looking at the other planes. And I think that's what I would do. This has got to be here in the US somewhere. This looks like an airplane museum, similar to one that I've gone to before, but nice image though. I really like it. Oh, hey Palumbo, I already finished your image. I think yours was what? The bridge, right? Or the pier? No. Anyway, uh which one was yours? Oh, it was the cardinal. Just in case. I already did your cardinal, but there it is. It's rendering now, so but I was able to warm it up and sharpen it a little bit. But if you go back to the near the beginning, it's the very first image I did. You'll see it there. All right, let's move on to let's see. The bee here. Sorry, my dog is barking, distracted me. Dang it, we missed focus or it's motion blur. I think it's motion. No, it's just tight. This has got to be, let me see what the exit. This got to be a long lens, probably the 75 to 300. Let me see. $40 to $150 with the teleconverter. Okay, so yeah, it was definitely long, and you're zoomed out to 600 millimeters, which is 300 millimeters on that lens, with a 2x teleconverter. Wow. So yeah, I figured it was really long because the depth of field is so shallow, and that's why the focus is missed a little bit. Otherwise, this is a cool bumblebee. Let me see. I think let me just work with the curves a little bit. I'm gonna bring out that B a little bit stronger with the red channel. Oh, hey Arthur, how are you? This is your picture. Oh, Benny, this is your picture. Okay. But yeah, this red will bring out the bee and the flowers a little bit on the red channel without messing up the greens. So I think we're good there. And then compositionally, 4x3. I'm thinking maybe a square crop. Just a square crop would be fine. Something like that. Dang it, I don't like this part. Maybe I can, yeah, I can tilt it out. There. And it just needs a little bit in the shadows. Maybe some clarity to make it feel sharper. All right, I think that's the edit I would go with. I'm not happy with this crop though. Maybe like that. I didn't want to cut off too much of the stuff if it's in the image, but yeah, that works. So give that a second to render, but yeah. So basically I just brought out the colors here and then tried to crush the background a little bit more, a little more contrast, so the bee stands out a little more. But I think that's the direction I would go. Just like that. Just simple square crop. Let me give, yeah, just like that. It's still rendering. It's coming. There we go. Yeah, it looks like it focused on this part really well. But man, that's thin. That depth of field is really thin. All right, good shot though. Let's see, last one. Bird trying to take off, motion blur. Yeah, shutter speed. This shutter speed's, you got to be at 1/2000th for a little tiny bird like that. Let me see what you were at. You're at 1/1000th. Okay, so yeah, you need to be at least double that for little birds, because this bird fits like in the palm of your hand, right? This is a tiny little bird. So you're gonna get motion blur because it's so tiny. But let me play with this and pretend it's in focus. I'm debating if I should go total silhouette with an image like this. Let me look at what else is in the image. If I can get some kind of decent geometry going on, I might be able to just silhouette this. This is kind of there. Let me see. I think I'll silhouette this and make it a monochrome. Because there's no save in the image because this is blurry. So I think I'm going to go with a silhouette. So we're going to crush the range. Whoops. I don't want the red channel. I need them all. We'll come back to the red channel. I'm going to add some toning. All right. Let me look at this crop again. This crop is I'm trying to get some interesting geometry with the branches. All right. A little bit harsh on the highlights, but right there. Then I'm going to see if some split toning might work. So let's go blue. Like that. I'm getting all creative, right? And let me stay in the blue channel. And this is all black, so I can't get it. It's just too black. All right, I think that's all I can do with that one. The bird needs some flames, right? Maybe a little bit too much in the blue. I'll tone that back a little bit. Right about there. So that's what I would do. Just kill the contrast and get rid of all the distracting things here. And I just tried to work on the geometry of the bird and these branches with a slight tint to blue. Oh yeah, Dave, split toning. Yeah, I do split toning all the time. So that's going to be actually part of my next video tutorial on working with the tone curves in Workspace. So yeah, check that out. It'll be a good video. Hopefully I can get it out tonight, but definitely by tomorrow. I'd like to tilt it a little more, but then I'd be cropping the branches out too much. But I really want the bird to be more facing that way. But anyhow, that's the gist of it, right? I think that works. All right, that was the last one. So awesome job, everyone. Thanks for submitting those. I'll be back on Thursday editing your pictures again. So there's links below in this video to submit your images. So go ahead and start submitting them now. And I will try and figure out a way to give you guys another image that you can edit of mine. So what I'll probably do is just post a little video, because that seems to pop up. But I have a community tab that pops up too. So I'll try and do that today too and put another image up. You guys can edit one of mine that is a total wreck and see what we can bring of it. But maybe I'll do a poll of all the images that were submitted and do a little vote and see which one you guys like best. But as always, hopefully you guys learned a little bit about Workspace and editing, and I really appreciate you submitting and enjoyed having you all here and your suggestions. So we'll see you again next week. Thanks again. Never know how to stop these streams. Where's the button?